good morning, and welcome to The Insight. Today on The Insight, we'll be looking at the Gen Z protest in Nepal, implication for world leaders. And to analyze this issue in Nepal, we've brought an erudite private legal practitioner, a human rights activist, social and political analyst, one who will always let you know that he is a farmer. We are talking about Ozo Barrister of Okansi. You're welcome to
Thank
The
you
Insight.
for having me once more this morning.
All right. Barrister, today we're talking about Nepal.
Yes.
But before we go into it, let me give our viewer a brief background or history of the country. Nepal is a landlocked country in South Asia, sandwiched between China to the north and India to the south, east and west. These unique geographical positions has profound influence on the culture, history, and economy of Nepal. Remember, Nepal is a country that has 8 out of the 10 historical mountains that we have in the world and is a multi-ethnic cultural society. So, Barrister,
Yeah.
can you please give us a brief insight on what this protest is all about, the factors that engineered it?
Good. It's the problem we have about protests or uprising or revolution, whichever terminology you want to give it, is simply a product of leadership.
Okay.
If even the Bible we read often has said it that when the righteous is in power, the people rejoice. But when the unrighteous is in power, usually this kind of pushback is what you expect. Nigeria toyed with similar thing some time ago. That is when we had the ENSUBEB protest in 2020. It was marred with ethnic divisions. The North didn't want to join because they said Sai Buhari then, until the thing reached everybody. Just like you said in your intro, that Nepal is a multi-ethnic country, just like Nigeria. But hunger united them, frustration united them, unemployment united them, especially when we talk about the people who actually carry this protest, the Gen Z. Who are the Gen Z? The Gen Z is simply the latest acronym that just erupted in our demographic lexicon of recent, when we now started classifying children maybe from ages 25 down as Gen Z generation. And they gave themselves that acronym, and it has stuck. Google recognize it, English dictionary now recognize it. It's not a word in use. So, things that ignite something, like I said, is bad leadership. Very many countries of the world had their fair share of bad leadership. Very good fair share. You see, Uche, the one thing you must have to understand about this issue of leadership, it's not about, you might be a bad leader, but sometimes you hide the worst side of your character. You can still pass on for maybe a fair leader. But when you expose that to your bad, it's just like what Aristotle said, that every man has a dual life, private and public life. Society is, of course, able to judge a man by his public life. But if he makes a mistake and his private life becomes public property, he's often ostracized as a punishment. There are a lot of private things you can do to yourself and which you know pertains to you alone. And these ones you hide from the public. Whoever wants to poke nose into your private life is looking for trouble on his own. So our people call it non-acquasive. But the private life you bring out for people to see is what people will judge you with. If you now make a mistake and go back and evoke your private life and join it with your public life, people will start assessing you by your private life. And what they assess you by that, definitely you must have to get some flaw, because there's no way your private life can tally with what the public expects of you. Now, in Nepal, it's exactly like what is happening in Nigeria even now as we are sitting this Aneke TV. The people in Nepal escaped from Nepal to either India, Pakistan, or any of the neighboring countries in search of greener pastures. Many of them, because he has said they have the greatest number of mountains out of the number of mountains we have in the world. Many of them climb these mountains, many of them may not survive in the course of climbing these mountains to get to the other side of the divide. Now they die in the process. Their leaders swell and swim in in affluence. Their children attend the best schools in countries that their leaders are kept all right. They send them to UK, they send them to Spain, they send them to America, where they go to school. And like what is happening in Nigeria, it is the same thing. Our political leaders all said, you can imagine what is his name? The man in Kogi. I remember the past governor of Kogi State.
Yaya Bello?
Yaya Bello, sorry. Who went and paid school fees for his children that are not even secured admission. It had passed for a number of years with taxpayers' money. Now, EFC wanted to see him. He keep running from pillar to post. Until eventually, now I think they have died it in that the man has gone to EFCC and they have been given bail as usual because he belongs to the ruling class. Do you think the young ones don't see those things? They see it. Wike, who is the minister for Capital Territory, and Amechi, who was then minister for transport. Yeah. All of them, including Osibanjo, who was the former vice president, had all their children schooling abroad, and when they graduate, they go there to do their graduation. Take pictures with them, post it for us on Facebook for us to see that the ones we are having in Nigeria is not good education. Because you can't be a vice president of a nation. You run down your universities, run down your public schools, and then send your child to another public school in another country where your child will go to graduate. You go there, take pictures with them, and show it to us who are on strike. Maybe ASU strike in Nigeria may last for 8 months. And my child, we who are proletaries, who are in the streets, my children will be in the public school in Nigeria. And the teachers are on strike because they could not be paid their salaries. And now you take your child overseas where there is no strike. They graduate there, you take pictures with them and come to show us, you who have entrusted with our resources to manage it for the welfare of our citizens. Now, they kept monitoring those things. What snowballs into revolution is just a little trigger because the thin line between frustration and revolution is just like a thread. Once anything that will slice it, before you know it snowballs into other things. I always refer to the ENSUBEB protest in Nigeria in 2020. It was the brutality of the Nigerian police force, especially the group they call Special Anti-Robbery Squad. When they came on board, I think it was in 2003 or thereabout that they inaugurated them. They became hydra-headed. They become unaccredited. They will have a commissioner of police in charge of SARS in Lagos, or in Abuja, sorry. And the commissioner of police in Enugu here, we have little or nothing to control the people in his state, but yet they work in his state. That thing created a lot of administrative loophole. SARS became hydra-headed. As you are walking on the street, they might ask you, why are you wearing sneakers? If your sneakers is, are you sure that you didn't steal it? Before you know it. So they became so hydra-headed, till the anger of the youth boiled over. They came to the streets. Now, even after they have scrapped SARS, they're not like SARS now again. The youth continued the protest and said, it's not against bad governance. Before they now started killing people front, left, and center, and the people now have to withdraw. That is the height of anger that snowballs into revolution, like happened in Nepal. They have been doing all those things. The youth were looking at them. The Gen Z generation were looking at them. I said, well, if you can just leave us alone, let us struggle for ourselves. Like Nigerian people, you see, our youths, there's no job, there's no industries to absorb the youths. They keep on managing. Some of them now start carrying a laptop. Yahoo, which is even criminality, now still like a profession. It is because there's unemployment. If your leaders are providing employment, would you have time to start asking somebody to give you money fraudulently? When you wake up in the morning, you go to, as when you work in a bank. Since that, you don't take your bath. Before 7, you're in the bank already. And when you're coming back, it will be about 7 in the evening. Tell me when you have time to plan for criminality. It is because people are idle. So their minds died to everywhere for them to survive. A child will go to school, do 4 or 5 years, do his service, come back. We go and start doing POS. These things are the things that snowball into the kind of revolution that we have in Nepal. Now, they were doing all these things in Nepal, the youths were ignoring them until they brought an act, a law, akin to the Cybercrime Act of Nigeria that punishes you for using this or sending message or doing that or forwarding message or whatever. No problem. This still felt no problem. If you can do that, whoever found the law, individual catch the person and try him. If he gets it convicted, no problem. All of a sudden overnight, you could see dictatorship. It works like madness. They got into their deciding and boardrooms, flashed out all social media handles. About 21 of them, from Facebook to WhatsApp to Instagram to whatever, just name it. They removed all of them. Used to wake up in the morning, woke up in that night to browse and send messages. So they couldn't send messages. It was spontaneous. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Hindu, whether you are employed, whether you're unemployed, everybody uses social media. So they poured to the streets. Initially, they thought it was a joke, like Nigeria will always do too. They sent their policemen. Police shot and killed about 9 persons on the first day. The thing ignited.
All right.
Before you know it, they now started moving. But everybody now joined them, including non-Gen Zs. So they now moved to the streets. And that's exactly what is happening in this country, where people neglect the persons you are ruling. You can imagine the kind of policies this present government is, encouraging. So the implication for what it is very enormous. Everybody, wherever, including Trump, who is in the United States, he must have to be careful. Why do I say that? Trump has been hunting down on immigrants and sending them back to their various homes. Some even send Nigerians to Ghana, send Ghanaians to Ivory Coast, just like that. Any place you see plane, carry them to that place. That's not the way to rule. Now, these immigrants who have a lot of work they are doing in the United States, those work they are doing there are now comatose. Nobody is doing it. And hunger will soon visit them. And when it visits them, this kind of reaction that Gen Z did in Nepal will happen in the United States, not only Nigeria.
So, let me ask.
Yes.
You sum these happenings in Nepal to a failure of leadership.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, moving forward, can you say this is becoming a trend in the Asian countries and around the world? And is there similarity between it and what happened in Sri Lanka in 2022 and Bangladesh in 2024?
Exactly. That's why I said this topic is apt. This topic we have chosen is apt, because it says implication of this one now to world leaders. The difference in Bangladesh, or the one in Pakistan, or even the Nigerian experience of 2020, is that this one orchestrated and commenced by youths, exclusively youths. Elders were watching them. But some elders started encouraging them from the second day. You can also see in that one too, the army was askance. They were just looking at them. Because the army knew that what they were doing was right. But the army came in after the 3rd day because the destruction of state institutions became so high. Because they still have to rebuild all those things. The money, taxpayers' money. So that was why the army came in. And when the army came in, army didn't shoot anybody. What they did was to enable them do the other remaining matches and then start the cleanup. Now, what did the army do that made that of Nepal different? The army now called the Gen Z leaders. Let us suggest a way forward. How do we? You can't have a country without a leader. We are not interested in taking power, even though we have stabilized the polity. The young man suggested, I think one retired judge, who is a woman, and another man again is just acting president, acting prime minister for 1 year, who will now midwife an election in which let the youth take back their country. And that is exactly what it should be. Because the one we did in Nigeria in 2020 didn't succeed in the north. But succeeded exactly everywhere down southern Nigeria. And we also noticed that during that time, our leaders were running helter-skelter. Many of them jetted away to foreign land. But Nigeria is one different country. Unlike Nepal, Nigeria is such a different country that if it happens here, there is no country you will run to. They will chase you back. You can recall the experience of Ike Kweremadu when he went for New Year Festival in Hamburg in Germany. They
Yes.
say you dragged us to this place. Many of us have to cross the desert to come to Germany. Many of us don't have papers here. We are hiding from the police. Lo and behold, after wasting the resources we have in the country on you and your family, you came here for New Year Festival. You get the janta. So they're there to see.
But also,
Yes.
let me say, in Nigeria, for example,
Yes.
you know that this cannot succeed. Given the same circumstances in Nepal, here we are very much aware and rooted in our divide. Like you did cite, it succeeded down south, but failed in the north because the northerners felt it was an attempt to remove their person from the helm of affairs of the nation. And if that is to happen again, for example, perhaps spearheaded by the north, the south may feel this is an attempt to usurp power from the south. And if there's a possibility that Nigeria may not be linked or go the same route.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I don't agree.
Why?
Let's tell you why I don't agree.
All right.
You see, hunger will unite all of us. Hunger
Hunger.
has a way of uniting people.
Okay.
Maybe because you have a good job with Aneke TV. You don't know that there is a classmate who is doing POS after graduating from the university. You don't know there is a classmate who is riding a keke after graduating from university.
Also, let's move it. Let's move it away from me.
I'm coming because I'm talking about how it must succeed in Nigeria.
Okay.
You also recall that the houses there who were saying Sai Buhari, after Buhari dealt with them, they were now in defense and started complaining, even while Buhari was thrown in his last tenure. Then, the South, the West, the man who is at the helm of affairs there is Tinubu, and it's from the western region of Nigeria. But you find out that the radicalism in the West is far higher than any part of Nigeria. That the people who are spearheading, even Tinubu must step aside because of corruption. There are people from the Southwest. Showore is not an Igbo man. He's not an Hausa man. They don't follow Rotimi is not an Igbo man. He's not an Hausa man. I can name millions of them. They are there. They are the ones spearheading it. So it's not going to be like the other one. The Hausas are very monolithic. Monolithic in the sense that whatever the, what they call it, fledged head says is what goes. It's not like that in Yoruba land. It's not like that in Igbo land. Where I'm even afraid it might not succeed is in Igbo land, in southeastern Nigeria.
Why is that?
Let me tell you why. You see, any little protest Nigeria will do, the first thing, if protest starts now in Nigeria, the people in the north will leave the people in power who are the cause of their problem. They will face Igbo shops. They'll start looting Igbo shops in the north. The people in Lagos will leave Tinubu who has created their problem. They will face Igbos in their markets. Now, the Nigerian army will leave those areas where there are protests. They will come down to the east here. And every pole of electric pole, you see military stop over. And if you move and they will shoot you and say you are a Paul. That's why some even think, that was why during the Tinubu bad governance protest, the South said they are not interested. Protest. We are not going to protest. Because why the protest was raging in very many parts of Nigeria, the army has flooded the southeast without provocation. So what they decided to do is within the days of the protest, let everyone stay indoors. Because if you come out, they will shoot you.
Okay.
They won't shoot those people who are doing the protest though. They will come down to shoot people down in the east here. I have had the opportunity of traveling to the north. Well, not so closely, but when this issue of roadblocks has started in the southeast, you drive from how do I put it? Where do I put it? So that the distance, the southeast has no distance now, but you drive like something from Boko to Port Harcourt in the north, you won't see a single military or police checkpoint. Okay. And that's where the insurgency is prime. That's where insurgents will go into school, march out everybody in the hostel, and move them about 5 miles into the forest without interruption, by foot. But here, where you don't have such insurgents, every poll, in fact, it's of late they stopped the humiliation of when you carry passengers, every passenger will come down and put his hand on his head and cross the military checkpoint. And the driver will cross over. You enter the bus again. This time around, they now stop you, look into your bus and tell you to pass.
Perhaps because you had a security crisis where police stations were burnt. I witnessed similar thing in the north as well, where people had to alight from their tricycles or vehicles and walk by foot because they had terrorist attacks, bomb explosions in the north there.
Exactly. It happens. But then, I'm giving you the magnitude. That place you may go to the north, might not be the north, Kogi or Benue or Plateau. But I'm talking about the entire southeastern Nigeria. I'm not talking about Enugu or only Abia or Imo or a boy. I'm talking about the entire south. Let's just take, for instance, from Gariki here to Abani. Is it up to 5 kilometers? I doubt whether it's up to that. There is a military checkpoint. At least I know there's one. Then there are multiplicity of police checkpoints. The irony of this thing they are checking here is not because they are even controlling any crime, because the crime will still keep on going on until this man now brought his command and control machinery, which I don't know why it has gone comatose again, because people are still kidnapping people on the highway to Onitsha.
All right.
So, but let's just come to our discourse.
Yes.
Let's not derail.
Also.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
So what I'm talking about is that it can happen in Nigeria, and it's but we're not talking about whether such a review will happen. What we are talking of when.
We're talking about when it
will happen, not whether it will happen.
All right.
And I will tell you likely thing I might trigger it.
All right. I'll put a question mark to that.
Yes.
About when it will happen. We'll come to that
Okay.
also. But while you were talking, you did mention social media being banned and all that. You talked about Facebook, TikTok, and all the rest of them. Now, that makes me to begin to want to ask, don't you think there were external influences linked to the Nepal crisis beyond just the youths, that they had foreign backers?
I don't know why people, whenever people protest for their rights, they will ask you who is sponsoring him. Like I come to programs like this, I bear my mind the way I see it as an activist. Okay. Some people say, who is sponsoring our focus? These things doesn't follow. You see, I told you what unites people into protest are very easy. They are very little things. And don't have the white man say that a hungry man is an angry man. When you are hungry, you see, he who is on the ground needs no fall. If they shoot you and they'll die, if there is rest in that place, it's even better for you. You better get there and let those who will survive, let them have a better life. That's what it's going to boil down to. I just told you the only area I have my misgivings. Because if they treat South in the way they will treat every other part of Nigeria, South is participating in whatever revolution is going to occur. Because they suffer the same fate. But the thing that they will concentrate their attack on the Southeast, leaving every other part of Nigeria, even when they will protest here. So the issue of this Nigeria being divided or multi-ethnic group, are they divided or multi-ethnic group in the Senate when they want to share our money?
Okay.
Are they divided on religious ground when they want to share our money in the Senate? They can only divide us who are not there. Whenever they want to make any law that benefits, when they were sharing SUV costing millions of naira to purchase a brand new one, did they say you're a Muslim or that you're from Southeast or that you're Hausa, that you don't get your own? All of them collected the thing and smiled to the bank. And when Ababio told them that for the Christmas, you go to your bank account and you see something has been sent to your bank account.
It was prayers that were sent.
No, so someone corrected you and said, oh, God, you know what you are saying on national camera. He said, oh, sorry, they will send prayers to your inbox.
It was prayers that were sent.
So these things cannot continue forever. But the problem and the underlying factor is that our leaders don't learn any lesson.
Our leaders don't learn any
lesson. They don't learn any lesson. Leaders all over the world, they're not learning. Very few anyway. Very few. There are some exceptions. I keep on
Why are you saying this?
No. Why I say is that I don't know Nigeria will still be as it is now after 2020 ENSUBEB. I didn't know. Okay. I don't know that Tinubu, with all the trauma he has undergone under Abacha, will come into power and keep on messing Nigeria up like this. Because that man, In fact, it was divine providence that he's alive today. Abacha wanted to finish him up. After all, when Abacha killed Ken, heaven didn't fall. Did heaven fall? No. So if they had arrested Tinubu, they all ran away during the Aneke days. Tinubu ran away, Soyinka ran away, all of them, including this show where we're doing this thing. He was arrested, even as a student activist. He has been in and out of prison in protest for good governance for people. So the thing underlying factor here is that after all those things, and then you saw the one that happened in Bangladesh, the other one that happened where Sri Lanka, and now this one that happened in Nepal. Yet, did it stop the profligacy that is going on in Nigeria? It didn't.
All right, but Barrister,
yeah,
this protest that we've witnessed in Nepal, the one in Bangladesh in 2024, the one in Sri Lanka in 2022, and the ENSAS, now I want to link it to Nigeria, and the ENSAS in Nigeria as a 2020, right? Yeah. Good. Should we say that this is just an ordinary protest or a generational shift or just a burst of the moment?
No, you see, the difference in Naples is that at the end of the day, they succeeded in chasing away all their leaders.
Okay.
Bangladesh did not succeed in chasing away every leader. Sri Lanka didn't succeed in chasing away all the... Okay, I think Sri Lanka succeeded. Yeah. They chased away some of their leaders. But that of Nepal is total. Everybody, including the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was the worst hit. Because here in Nigeria, they'll tell you, they will slap you and say, you should go to court. Because maybe when you go to court, they will call the judge on phone and tell the judge, I'm interested in this matter. And that is why in Nigeria today, people don't look for lawyers who know the law. They look for lawyers who know the judge. If you have a case in court, they ask the barrister, I hope you know this judge that's going to handle this matter. Instead of telling you, I hope you are abreast of the law with which you will defend my matter. So it is where we have gone down to. So nobody will be spared. There was a time I think I came to this studio here and I said, let us pray that there's no martial music. Let it still be civilian revolution. Because if it is martial music, it will be bloody. And the blood will flow mainly from us civilians, not even from the military. Because we brought Nigeria to its knees, we the civilians, especially the political class. We brought this country to its knees. Now, if democracy in the type of practice in Nigeria, whenever there's an election, we count how many people died. And dictatorship in the time that's practiced in Côte d'Ivoire, where there is a military coup and nobody died. Will you not say, let us go to dictatorship, military dictatorship? Because in every democracy, in every election in Nigeria, people die. People are stabbed. People are told not to vote. But in a military takeover in Burkina Faso, nobody died. And up to today, nobody has died out of it.
People still die when there are no elections.
No, I didn't say death. Natural death is a different thing. But to come to polling booth and stab somebody because he wanted to cast his vote, that was the way I'm going.
All right.
Or to open fire on voters and say, why didn't you vote? Or that if you vote a different, I'll throw all of you into the lagoon. Coming from an enemy, even. These are the things that generate this kind of that happened in Naples.
Also,
yes.
You know, when I asked if there were foreign influence to what happened to Nepal,
I said there
you said yes. But some have argued that given the proximity of Nepal to China, that the Europeans may want to have a foothold, given what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Yes.
No, I don't think that holds water. Whoever is arguing that, well, like I keep on saying, I want a spiritual argument. Let a person give me facts, give me proof. But in the absence of proof, this thing that happened came spontaneously. The cleanup that is going on. Now, the people that they have now selected, the Gen Z, to run their affairs, they are also part of the transition committee. Some of them were also in the transition committee.
Barrister, but are you not worried that despite the massive destructions in Nepal, led by the Gen Zs, at the end of the day, they still nominated what we call almost the spent forces, the elderly, to still pilot the affairs of that country?
No. There is a lot of things. You need experience too. Those boys are wise. They know they need experience. They need experience. And that woman they nominated has her track records. It is like what happened during when Buhari overthrew Jonathan. Because I would say he won an election.
Buhari,
he won an
Buhari
election.
won
You know,
President Jonathan.
no, see, this is why I say sometimes you press men are part of the problem because you try to, because of the gag on the National Communication Commission.
We'll speak to facts.
Oh,
There were no guns.
Okay, no, I'm coming, no problem. When Buhari won Jonathan, that's what you want as a pressman, so that you will be intact.
It was a democratic process.
Accepted. There was no queue.
Yes.
Now, when he won Jonathan, many people who know Buhari as at 1983 felt it is still the same Buhari.
Okay.
They were rejoicing that a disciplinarian has come to power. Lo and behold, Nigeria is going to be corrected. People were rejoicing. Contractors went back to site in fear. Those who abandoned the job that went back to site. They were working on the site. Nigerians were suggesting to Buhari people he should appoint into very key positions. Some people were saying, if you want a next chairman, put in people like Abakoba, put in this other people, put in people were suggesting, those radicals who has ever criticized the government in power, they were suggesting them to Buhari. We didn't know that the Buhari there is just a prototype of Buhari of 1983. Until 9 months down the line, Buhari had not selected the ministers. When he now eventually wanted to select the ministers, he went back and selected the old brigade that people were saying, thank God Buhari has come to clean up. Now we know we have entered one chance. That's the day I know we have entered one chance. So at the end of the first tenure, everyone saw what happened. Second tenure, asked Buhari to say, I'm not aware. So he's never aware of anything until he left that office. So that is the same problem we have entered. So as to the Gen Zs nominating spent forces like you classified them, no. They are still part of the transition. Remember, the army called them. Make your choice. You need a leader. You need to be in the transition. Then those things you say you want your country to be, you start piloting it. Now, they selected those people based on experience. There are things, if I bring all of you here now, or all of us in this studio now, there are about 4 or 5 of us, we say, let us form the government. Let this room become a country. We might not be experienced, one, in foreign policy. We might not even be experienced in economic permutations to know which one is recurrent, which one is capital, this and that. So they need experienced people who also has to guide them. But the difference is that that area where that rot comes from has been plugged. Like I keep on saying it, Peter Obi, when he was asked, are you going to probe past leaders, assuming you win the president of Nigeria? He said, well, anybody who runs a shop, he always give an example because he says he's a business, a trader. Anybody who runs a shop and somebody runs into the shop, steals this cup and runs away. And you leave every other good in your shop, start chasing this man who stole only one cup. More thieves will go into the shop and loot the shop to dry. So what I will do is I will leave him with one cup. I will go and get welders to do a better burglary proof so that nobody will steal another shop again, another cup again. So those boys, but the line fighter is that they are going to lock up the issues that have kept them where they are.
So there's...
Who knows, Uche, who knows that Burkina Faso can run a free education from primary school to university? Who knows? Before now. Remember, they were classified as the poorest country in Africa. That's why I said with my own introduction in this course, that everything boiled down to leadership failure.
Okay. Barrister, I know you have a lot to unpack,
Yes.
but for want of time, you mentioned linking it to Nigeria. You said it's a question of when, not if.
Yes.
Why would you say that?
Why I say this is that the people who are in power have not learned any lesson, which they have not. Our leaders learned no lesson, and they are not ready to learn it. Tell me why Tinubu should remove Fubara, who is an elected governor. Tell me why Wike should be calling the shots from Abuja as a minister, what happens in Rivers State. Tell me why Emefiele should stay 4 trillion. What is he doing with it? I can go on and on and on. So they are kind of stealing the perfect in this leadership. You find out that they are mentally deranged. Those people still there. Which is true too. If you give me 1 billion here now, I have not earned, I will run amok. If you carry 1 billion now, say, this is your share of the national cake. I'll run amok. Reason, money is better earned when it comes in a graduated form and you're expecting it. Which you might say you want to go to the market now to buy some sets. And somebody tells you, look, this set is 100 million. And you have 95 million, remaining 5 million to make it 100 million. And you keep on begging the man, I will give you the remaining 5 million, maybe by the end of September. If you say, you don't owe me, I beg, I will give you this one trust. If you get that cup or that article for that 95 million, remaining 5 million, you will value it so much. But if you go to the market and say, this article is 100 million, and you have about 500 million in your boot, you just tell your boy to go and count 100 million in that boot and take. Put that in, do it fast too. The man might count 110 million if you will not know, because he didn't earn that money legitimately.
Okay. For once of time,
yes,
let's look at the implication of this Nepal incident
yes,
to world leaders.
The implication is that world leaders must be on their alert, because not everybody can jump into a helicopter basket like those people did in Nepal. Not everybody can jump into a stream and try to cross the creek in Nigeria, because I know them. Is it that people that can run through the creek or in Abuja? He can't. Where did the helicopter that carry them from their rooftop? Like the president did his own and built a rooftop where he hung himself and a helicopter came down and picked him. How many leaders in Nigeria built such things? They don't have that. The world leaders must see what happened there as what can happen to them. It's just like the Igbo adage that says, Ebulu ozu oyo ozo, oduke eboku, nke ebulu ozu nke bank ebu mad. When you carry the corpse of another person, you just ignore it and go, thinking they are carrying a log of wood. But if they carry the corpse of your own relation, you don't know that a human being has died. The Nigerians are seeing it as carrying the corpse of another person yet. They don't see it as carrying their own corpse until it comes to them. They will wait until that water gets to their leg. And until it gets there, world leaders, not only Nigeria, Africa as a whole, even in the United States, like I said, I gave an example before, everybody must go back to the drawing board. Actually, there is no rocket science in doing good as a leader. There is no rocket science there.
All right, Barrister. Is there a final word of advice?
Final word of advice is that our leaders should look for things that will engage the Gen Z, the youths. That's why they are in leadership. Create industries, let them get employment. Give them free education, let education not be for the rich, and make schools habitable for both your own child as a political leader and the child of a common man. Let Mr. Nobody, who did not know somebody, become somebody in your own country.
All right. On that note, this is where we'll draw the curtain today on the insight. But Barrister, we'll still invite you more and more, so I'll continue to expand on these issues.
I'm always available.
All right.
I'm always available.
We've been speaking with also Barrister Fokansi, a private legal practitioner, human rights activist, and a social and political commentator who always wants you to remember that he's equally a farmer.
I'm a farmer too.
Also, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Never mind my tie. I'm a farmer.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Remember, our viewer, that on the insight, your views are very important to us, and that's what matters. So, reach us about what you feel on this issue or other issue you want us to bring up in our discussion. Reach us with the hashtag #TheInsight at Aneke TV on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and you can reach us as well on Instagram or even call our number as well. Till we'll come your way, same time tomorrow. I'm still your host, Uche Osai.